Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Piper Jasmine, and today I've decided to do a high school advice / tips video. I am an upcoming senior in high school. I actually go back to school on the 30th of July. I'm super excited, as you can tell. And like I said, I'm about to be a senior, so you know, cheers to that. So I think I have enough tips and tricks to help you guys get through high school. So let's get into the video. So I recently uploaded my AP exam square reaction videos, and I got a lot of questions about how I manage taking so many AP courses. Give you guys a little bit of background knowledge. I guess I'm gonna start this tip number 1, how to maintain a 4.0 in high school. I've had a 4.0 throughout my entire high school career so far. I feel like I should knock on some wood. Weighted, I have over a 4.0. I'm in the top 10% of my class. I go to a really competitive school, so I don't feel comfortable saying my ranking because they might rip me apart, but I'm in the top 10% of my class. Unweighted, my GPA is not below a 3.8. It's between a 3.8 and 3.99, I guess. By the time I finish high school, I would have taken about 11 AP courses. So to maintain a 4.0 is all about prioritizing your life. So I'm still involved in a lot of curriculars. I'm a varsity cheerleader. I was captain. So when it comes to prioritizing, I'm so dumb. When it comes to prioritizing, you really have to figure out what works best for you. What classes do you really need to focus on, and what class can you really just let slip through the cracks? Some classes where I didn't always have a lot of work to do, so I would kind of just do another class's work in that class because I didn't have anything to do. I would recommend keeping a calendar. Like freshman and sophomore year, I'd really not use a calendar because my classes weren't that difficult, I guess, but when it came to junior year and I really doubled up on my courses, I really had to keep a calendar because I really had to see what I had to do, when it was due, what was more important for me to do in that sense. So that's where it all comes to prioritizing as well. It really just depends on what school you go to and how you learn to maintain that 4.0. I choose what class I really need to focus on. So, for example, at last junior year, I took AP Chem, AP Lang, A Push, and AP Physics. And on top of that, I also had Honors Pre-Calc, Ethnic Studies, and Essentials of Healthcare. So, when it came to my AP classes, I knew that A Push, I didn't really have to focus on a lot because my teacher, he was a good teacher, but I knew that he BS'd us a lot of the time. And what I mean by that is I knew that if he said that we had to do something that night, he was not going to take it up. He wouldn't do anything. It was more of the Socratic method. You chose if you wanted to do it, and that's what I love about my AP courses so much. So if he told us to read chapters 13 through 15, I wasn't gonna do it because I knew that we just weren't gonna have an assignment or anything on it because that's just my teacher. I think after a couple of months you kind of learn what your teacher means and what he doesn't mean. 2, I already knew that I had people in my class who were just gonna retell all the material anyways, and we're just gonna go over it. So I just wasn't going to input anything in that conversation because I didn't read anything. So instead of doing my A Push homework, I might have focused on my AP Chem homework. So I might have gone back on my lectures because my teacher put her lectures on Google Classroom. So I might go back there and rewatch the lectures. I might go on Khan Academy and get some help. And that's kind of how I would manage my classes. AP Lang. So for AP Lang, I rarely had homework in that class because we focused on our timed essays, so a lot of our essays were in class because they were timed. When it came to AP Physics, we'd learn the new content, and then we'd have worksheets to practice the new problems because I was in Physics 1. So she would upload all the problems on Google Classroom, and you could decide if you did it or not. If I knew that I understood it after doing a couple problems in class, I wasn't going to do it at home. If I didn't understand it, then yes, I would do it at home. If I still needed help, I would come in or before or after school to get more help. So that's really how I managed my classes. I mean, there were days where I felt like I had to do like every assignment for my class. Don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying I'm a slacker and I don't do my work. It's just, like I said, it depends on your school and your teacher and how you personally learn. But I mean, I finished all of those classes with all A's, all over 100 in all those classes. So I feel like that worked for me, but if it doesn't work for you, you should definitely try to find your own way so that it works for you, so you can maintain all those grades in your classes. So that's kind of how I maintain my 4.0. So when it came to junior year, I really upped my AP classes because I took 4, like I said. And then honors pre-calc, that class was so hard for me. I'm not a math person at all, but I really had to swallow my pride. So I'm an Aries, so like I have like a ton of pride, not gonna lie. That's just like an Aries thing, I think. I would typically never ask for help because I just hated it. I hated asking for help. I don't know why. I just felt like I didn't need it, maybe. Like I needed it, but I didn't want to say that I needed it. I feel like there was a point for me where I felt like I was sometimes really struggling with the concepts because it just wasn't like registering in my mind. And you can kind of tell when your grades start slipping and it's not really like who you are, because you know you can do better. So I really had to like swallow my pride, and I would go to my teacher, ask for help. I would figure out what days they had tutoring. I would come in or stay after school. I would do my homework assignments and circle the problems that I really needed help with, and I would go in and like ask them for help. And it worked for me because I really wanted to maintain my good grades. So I feel like asking for help is another way you can help maintain your 4.0, because truth be told, like some of these classes, they're not easy. They're not meant to be easy. I recently learned like it's okay to ask for help. You should ask for help if you feel like you need help, because that help can really I'm saying help a lot. Like getting that help can really help you maintain your grades and not allow them to slip. So my next tip for being successful in high school is making sure you get involved in high school. We all like hate it probably. Like some people like probably love their high school. My high school, it's decent. I came from a different high school, so it's decent, but extracurricular activities is definitely a way for you to meet a ton of different people, because if you go to like a big school or a semi-big school, you probably don't even know everyone in your class. I don't know everyone in my class. I'm sure a lot of people don't know me in my class, but it really gets you out and involved and to meet a whole set of different people, learn how to interact with others. Honestly, I recently did a program at UGA and we talked to the admissions. Yeah, it was crazy, and we just got a lot of insight on how college admissions work. So when I tell you that extracurriculars are important, but I wouldn't say that you need to sign up for every single extracurricular activity. That's not what they're going to be looking for if you're like a sophomore or a junior, but like kind of need to start thinking about college. That's not really what they're looking for. When they're talking about extracurricular activities, they really want to see that you put your heart out into something and that you really care and you're really passionate for something. So even if you're a freshman watching this, I would not say sign up for every single club. I would say really sign up for clubs that you really think you might have an impact in and you might be really involved in, because if you just sign up in every single club but you don't have any depth, that's what the UGA admission lady was telling us, depth in those clubs, then it's kind of pointless. It's just gonna look like you signed up for those clubs to look like you were active and you really didn't. That's low-key what I did my junior year. I signed up for like one club and I absolutely did nothing in there. I only went to like one meeting. I didn't even show up for the yearbook photo. I just thought like it'd be good to have my college application. But if you think about it, you have to write a whole bunch of stuff for your college application anyways, and if you can't write about what you did in those clubs, it's kind of pointless. So I would really try to pinpoint the clubs that you're interested in, and also find clubs that you think are also going to be very fun and can make your high school year really great. You need to make sure that you balance having out a social life and your high school life, like your work, your work ethic, your studies. I think it's really important to find that balance, and being in clubs and finding clubs that you really enjoy, that can really help you find your balance and really just kind of take the pressure off of making sure that you study, making sure you get the A's and all that nonsense. So like a couple clubs that I've been involved in, I was in Student Government Association, and I was in 27 Plus Club my freshman year. I couldn't do a lot of stuff for the 27 Plus Club because I'm pretty sure you had to be like 16 for a lot of the events or a lot of the things that they did, and I was still 15. And then I moved, so they didn't have that at my new school. But I really enjoyed that. I really went to a lot of the meetings. I went to a lot of the SGA meetings as well, and SGA, I think I already said what it meant. And then sophomore year, I wasn't really involved in any club sophomore year because I was really new, and I was still just trying to like figure out where I belonged in the school, if that made sense, you know, being the new student and all. But I did join the basketball cheer team, so I guess that kind of counts, which is another thing. Try to get involved in sports because once again, it's all about maintaining that balance, because high school is really easy to get very stressed out, and if you can find something that's kind of like your outlet, it really helps just balance your life a little better. So I did do basketball cheer my sophomore year. My junior year, I was in HOSA, which is the Healthcare Occupation Student, I don't know what it means. I just know it's something with healthcare because I'm in the healthcare pathway for my school. So yeah, I did a lot of stuff. I went to the majority of the meetings. I would say I showed up for the pictures. I volunteered at the Piedmont Fall Festival. I did that. So I did some things with that, and then I was on prom committee, which was really fun. Like, that's one of the fun clubs that you can join. And you know, we did prom stuff, loved it, did it with my best friend. I joined Skills USA, which I said I didn't like do like it in because the meetings were just way too early in the morning and it happened way too often. It wasn't for me. I also joined Beta Club because I was like inaugurated or whatever my sophomore year, so I did so many hours or whatever to still be in it. I was also on the varsity basketball team, and I was captain, and we like did the MLK parade and a couple of other things. So that's what I kind of mean. You have to have like depth. You have to show that you did something. Like with Beta Club, I can say I did this so many hours, I worked here, here, and here, I volunteered here, I did this, I did that. So that's kind of what it means with depth. Like you shouldn't just put a club down to put a club down. Oh, and I'm also the class secretary, so yeah. But you need to make sure that you can elaborate on it, and it just makes your high school, you know, a little bit more fun. And there's a lot of other clubs that you can get really involved in. I met this girl, and she's like really involved in debate, so she goes to like all these debate conferences, and she's very involved with it. She loves it. So I would really say, like, to be successful in high school and to really have an enjoyable high school experience is to get involved. Another high school tip is go to all of your school's dances or like whatever they're hosting, because those are such good memories. So I would say at my old high school, they threw like the best homecoming dance, and like I went twice. I went like my freshman year when I attended, and then like my boyfriend at the time took me, and it's so fun and it's such a great memory. And you know, you have the pictures. It's kind of like a mini prom, really, and it's a great high school experience. And I feel like high school, you're supposed to look back and just be like, that was so fun. Like, I had the best time of my life. Like, I want my kid to go to a school like this and experience that. Like, I feel like that's what high school is supposed to be. Like, if they have a Sadie's dance, maybe go to Sadie's. Go to prom. I don't know why anyone would not go to prom. I know some people go to prom only their senior year, which you know, that's your decision, you and your family's decision. I'm going both years. I went my junior year. I had a video. I plan on going my senior year. Even though prom itself is like kind of lame, it's the high school experience that counts when it comes to prom, and it's that experience that you make with your friends and your family, and you have all those pictures to look back. It really makes your high school experience more enjoyable. If your school is maybe throwing like a charity or a school event, try going to that. My next tip is, I think these are going to be like study tips. I know there are some people who don't have to study and they get good grades. When you're taking AP courses though, I feel like it's a bit different. I feel like and then it kind of depends on what course it is, like what AP course at the same time. There's different methods for studying for different people, and then it also depends on the class. I have some teachers who literally make their study guides like their test, and then I also have some teachers who literally don't give you anything, and you just gotta hope you know it. So the way that I study, I use Quizlet a lot because, one, I feel like it's more accessible and it's more portable because you can have it on your phone. And I don't like flashcards, note cards. I don't like them. I use Quizlet a lot for a lot of my classes, especially when it comes to like my healthcare class, because we have to like memorize medical terms and medical stuff. But when it comes to maybe a push, what I do, so on Quizlet there's a search bar and you can kind of put in there like a push chapter 5 note, a push chapter 5 test, and that's what I do, even though the chapters might be different, so you might have to like look around, and that's what I like to do because it helps me like jog my memory about what I learned, what I probably need to focus on a lot more. And then sometimes I go over my notes a lot, like I'll just study my notes. That's what I do. I wouldn't say that I did read my textbook, but then I didn't. I would really only read it if I feel like I really needed to, but a lot of the time I would say I didn't read it. Like I said, this just depends on your school and on your teacher. I never felt like I needed to read each chapter and take every single note on each chapter. I never did that. I still passed the class with like a 102. It could have been higher, I guess, but did I care? Not really. AP Physics. AP Physics is a great example of my teacher. She made the study guide exactly like the test. So for me, I would just redo the entire study guide because, I mean, it's memorization, but at the same time, you kind of had to know what you were doing. I would do it 10 times and just redid the whole thing, wrote it all out because that just worked for me. It helped me. This is a tip that I learned from someone that I used to know. I saw it on her Snapchat. She said, if I did not know it by midnight, then I'm not going to know it tomorrow. Take that tip to your grave. But it's like, if you don't know it and it's 12 o'clock or if it's 1 o'clock, you're not going to know it if you wait another hour and study for it. You're just not. You should just go ahead, get some sleep, and try again in the morning. So I talked a little bit about relationships my junior year video. My junior year video was pretty much, like, I talked about some stuff that I'm talking about here, but a lot of it was for more junior year relationships, high school relationships. I honestly think the worst thing that you can do in high school when it comes to relationships is staying stuck with one person your entire high school, or the majority of your high school, like, years. I think it's like the worst thing someone could do. That's just my personal opinion. I mean, if you really like the person, I guess. What are the chances of y'all actually going to the same college? I'm not saying you need to be a hoe in high school, but like, I feel like high school is a chance for you to experience different things and different people, see what you like, what you don't like, etc. I feel like a lot of people say this in freshman advice, but no, it's true for sophomores and juniors. Don't date a senior. Don't date a senior. Don't date a senior.
Do not date a senior.
It's just they're leaving and you're just gonna get your feelings hurt. I had two seniors. Was it two seniors? Yeah, it was two seniors. My junior year. One of them, I didn't really care. Not to be rude. I was like, oh, okay, bye. The second one, I got my feelings hurt, like, really bad. I really did get my feelings hurt by that senior. This is an applicable situation to, like, everyone. Be careful. And I don't think they do it on purpose. I think it's just the senior mentality of, like, I'm leaving. That's kind of just what they're thinking about that entire year. The probability of them pausing their life for someone who's younger than them, who still has to go through some things, is very slim. So I would really consider that. So I want to get into high school parties. Okay, I kind of talked about high school parties. My last video, high school parties are definitely different from your middle school parties and your elementary school parties. As you progress through the years of high school, people get into different things. I'm not gonna name any names. I think we all know what different things I'm talking about. And it's ultimately your decision as to whether or not you want to try those things. I'm not going to influence anyone to sway left or right, but it's ultimately up to you. I don't think you need to drink alcohol or you need to do drugs to have a great high school experience. I think you can have a really fun high school experience without doing those things, but if you choose to do those, like, please just know what type of responsibility you would have to accept if you get caught with that. Peer pressure definitely does exist. Like, I've been peer pressured before. You can say no. It's okay to say no. If it changes someone's opinion on you, if you say no, then drop them. Drop the friend, because that's obviously not a friend. If they think less of you because you didn't want to take a sip of alcohol or because you didn't want to smoke a blunt, wrong. It's your decision. It's your life. Okay, so I guess my last advice, this is gonna be my last advice for high school, except to hurry. I took my senior pictures today, so I gotta redo my makeup. I have one more tip for y'all. So when I was at UGA at the program, we talked to a medical doctor, and he said something that really stuck to me. The worst thing that you can probably do in high school, at least in my opinion and based from my experience, is to make it seem like a competition. I'm not saying that high school isn't important, that you shouldn't try and you shouldn't be like number one. Like, I think you should, because it does help you when you're trying to get into college, of course. But I feel like, at least at my school, I feel like there's like a different level of competitivity. The thing that you can do in high school is and I feel like a lot of us students, we kind of learn that from the school itself and like how the whole grading system works. There's definitely a point where as students we tend to focus on who's getting the highest grades, who's the best in the subject, who's number one, who's number two, who's number three. Oh no, you're number 75, that must suck. There's a competition between students, and when you do that, I feel like, one, you're really making the others around you feel very, very bad about themselves enough. I mean, sometimes that's how I feel when it comes to school and the whole competition thing. Two, you're really not even taking the time to learn the material. It's more about memorizing and making sure you pass the test. And the doctor is basically like, you'll be a lot more successful in school if you really take the time to engage in the material and learn the material, and not to make everything a competition, which I wholeheartedly agree, because in school it feels like everything is a competition, and I feel like that's why a lot of us students these days have a lot of anxiety and stress about school. And I think the worst thing that you could do for yourself and for others around you is to make your school and your classwork, what you're doing in class, a competition, because it shouldn't be a competition. It should be for you learning the material because you want to engage in it and you want to learn it to become a better knowledge person. And yeah, so those are all of my advices that I have for y'all today on high school. I'm sure a lot of y'all, I don't know if you're like freshman, sophomore, or junior, or another senior, but I really do hope that this helped, and I hope y'all take it to heart and you learned something. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe, and as always, thank you for watching.
Nice beamers, double pocket, fuck pen and meter. In your club, on your couch, just got paid to be it. On your girl, rubbing on my